The morning sun had barely risen when the city began to stir, its glass towers glinting like polished diamonds, the air thick with the hum of engines and ambition. On the outskirts of that restless city, a black SUV pulled up in front of a massive iron gate that gleamed like gold in the early light. Behind it stood one of the grandest estates in town, a sprawling mansion surrounded by fountains, palm trees, and manicured lawns that stretched like velvet. Welcome to Deep Whispers, the place where every story whispers a truth, a lesson, or a secret waiting to be heard. From tales of love and betrayal, to power, pain, and redemption. If you love stories that make you feel, think, and dream, then you're in the right place. Hit like, subscribe, and join a world where every whisper tells a story. Inside the gatehouse, a security guard sat on a wooden stool, his uniform faded and his eyes heavy with fatigue. He was in his mid-50s, his hands rough from years of labor, his back slightly bent from long shifts. His name was Samuel. Every day, before dawn and long after sunset, he guarded the gates of luxury, a world he would never enter except through duty. That morning, his stomach rumbled quietly. He hadn't eaten since the night before. His daughter had taken the last portion of food, and he was grateful for that. He didn't mind hunger as long as she could study with a full stomach. Still, as he poured lukewarm tea from a flask, his hands trembled from exhaustion. He was about to take his first sip when the sharp sound of tires screeching against the pavement caught his attention. A sleek black car stopped at the gate. The tinted window rolled down, revealing a man in a crisp navy suit and gold cufflinks. Ethan Ward, the owner of the mansion and CEO of Ward Enterprises, one of the city's largest real estate firms. Ethan was known for his sharp mind, his ruthless business sense, and his unshakable confidence. He built his empire from nothing, or so he liked to say, though his definition of nothing still included family connections and inherited land. To his employees, he was a storm in a suit, precise, cold, and always in control. "Gate's not open yet," Ethan asked, irritation cutting through his tone. Samuel quickly stood, fumbling with the buttons on the control panel. "Sorry, sir. Just a slight power delay. It'll open now." The gate creaked, heavy metal grinding as it slid open. Ethan frowned, checking his gold watch. "You should have it open before I arrive. Time is money, Samuel." "Yes, sir," Samuel said softly, bowing slightly as the car rolled past. Ethan didn't look back, but what happened next would change that forever. That evening, as the mansion lights flickered on, Ethan returned from work. The rain had begun to fall, gentle at first, then heavy, washing over the marble driveway. As his car approached the gate, he noticed something unusual. Samuel was still there, standing under the rain without an umbrella, the thin fabric of his uniform soaked through. He was holding his phone up high, trying to get a signal. Ethan rolled his window down slightly. "Why are you still here?" he asked, his voice half drowned by the rain. Samuel turned quickly, startled. "Good evening, sir. I am sorry. My replacement didn't come, so I stayed back." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "And the phone? My daughter's school called. They said she fainted during evening study. I was just trying to reach someone to check on her." Ethan glanced at the drenched man, then at the dark sky. "You should go." "I can't leave the post unattended, sir," Samuel said quietly. "Rules." Ethan hesitated, then drove off without another word. But as the night deepened, his mind wouldn't rest. The image of the man standing in the rain haunted him, loyal, weary, alone. At dinner, while his wife and son chatted about their weekend plans, Ethan's mind drifted back to that soaked uniform and trembling hand. His food tasted bland, his mansion suddenly too quiet. The next morning, he called the head of staff. "Does that guard have a backup team?" The man hesitated. "He does, sir, but he often covers extra shifts. He doesn't complain. I heard his wife passed away a few years ago. He's raising his daughter alone. She's in medical school." Ethan paused, the fork halfway to his mouth. "On a guard salary?" "Yes, sir. He does part-time jobs at night sometimes." Ethan leaned back in his chair, the weight of that information pressing hard against his chest. He had built an empire that employed thousands, yet he had never really seen them, The faces that opened his gates, cleaned his offices, carried his name on their sweat. That afternoon, curiosity got the best of him. He ordered his driver to take him to the address listed in Samuel's file. The car weaved through narrow streets until they reached a small compound with rusted gates. Children played barefoot in puddles. Laundry hung from broken lines. And there, sitting outside on a low stool, was a young woman in a worn school uniform, reading a medical textbook under a flickering streetlight. Ethan watched quietly. Her eyes were tired but determined, her face lit by the glow of her dreams. He realized she must be Samuel's daughter. At that moment, something inside Ethan cracked. He returned to his car and sat in silence. For years, he had believed success meant standing above others. But watching that girl study under the dim light, he saw that true strength was in sacrifice, the kind Samuel had given every single day. The next morning, when Samuel reported for duty, he found Ethan waiting by the gate, a sight that startled him. "Sir," he stammered. Ethan held out an envelope. "This is for you." Samuel blinked. "Sir, I haven't done anything." Ethan interrupted, his tone softer now. "You've done more than you realize. You've kept this place safe for years, worked through storms, through hunger, through loss. Inside that envelope is a scholarship for your daughter, full funding until she graduates, and a letter offering you a promotion to head of security with better pay and benefits." Samuel's lips trembled. "Sir, I don't know how to thank you." Ethan smiled faintly. "Just promise me you'll never stand in the rain again when you need help." For the first time in years, Samuel laughed. A quiet, genuine laugh that came from deep within his chest. Weeks passed, and the mansion changed. Ethan started greeting his staff by name. He spoke less about profits and more about purpose. He even launched a foundation to support the families of his workers, something he once would have called sentimental nonsense. But the biggest change wasn't in the company or the mansion. It was in Ethan himself. The man who once measured success in numbers now measured it in smiles. Years later, when Samuel's daughter graduated as a doctor, Ethan sat proudly in the front row, clapping louder than anyone else. When she thanked him, he only said, "Your father taught me something I've forgotten. That greatness isn't in how high we rise, but how deeply we care." And as they stepped outside that day, the sky began to drizzle again. Ethan looked up, feeling the gentle rain on his face. It no longer felt cold. It felt like grace. Sometimes, it only takes one quiet man at a gate to open another man's heart forever.